But again, yeah, check it out. A lot of research, a lot of articles, a lot of references. Really great work from the author.
And be sure to check out Reality Unbound, The Digital Mind, and the Nature of Reality by E. Hughes. Welcome to Discourse. Today we're going to be discussing Reality Unbound, The Digital Mind, and the Nature of Reality by E. Hughes. Is the mind digital? Is the existence of the mind or consciousness a cosmic accident, or did nature design the first software program and central processing center in the human brain, thus designing intelligence in organisms for a specific metaphysical, evolutionary, or cosmic purpose? Or was it random? Better, how does an organism evolve into an intelligent species that can observe, think, read, write, reason, adapt, create, deliberate, judge, calculate, or perceive, and for what cosmic purpose?
Yeah, a lot of good questions. And questions that literally philosophers, people, ancient times now have been asking. And honestly, we haven't had like a good answer, correct? Until more recently with the exploration and building up of the artificial intelligence, AI, we get a comparison. Ancient and modern philosophers have debated the nature of the mind and the nature of reality. Some have argued that only matter is real under the materialism school of philosophy, while others argue for idealism, which is the concept that only our perceptions can be real because you need a mind to perceive reality.
Yeah, so I like how the author started from the beginning, right? Consciousness, what it is, how the mind works. Our minds are such that we can learn and process and adapt, evolve technically in that way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have our consciousness, our mind, that makes us feel self-aware. We are now self-aware, so that means we're intelligent living beings. I guess the comparison is to computers, like AI in particular. Are they also conscious beings, sentient beings?
Are they aware that they were created and that they can do what they want? Or do they have to wait for direction and for the human to interface with it and pretty much give it like a job, like answer this question, build me this picture?
Right.
But it's artificial intelligence, and the word intelligence itself is like, are they self-aware?
Right.
And the author also goes deeper into that, like self-awareness. Humans have it. That's where we're aware of our environment, are able to adapt and change things, or animals, they just need to survive, hunt, eat.
Right.
You know.
And it also goes to that whole thought of the quote by, I think it's a philosopher, a French philosopher, I think, therefore I am, right? So AI is, I mean, technically, they're thinking about all the information that we download into them, right? Like we're giving them the knowledge and the information, and they just kind of accumulate it and sift through it and regurgitate it when asked. But they still have to think about it. They still need to process stuff.
Regurgitate.
I know.
See, and that's another deep thing. It's like you're giving all this information to AI and it just puts it together, but it didn't experience those things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like perception, we all have different perceptions. Like we see the same thing. I see a blue sky, you see a aqua, you see a whatever, green sky.
Right, and the author goes through that too. She describes our perception as it's subjective, right? Our reality is subjective. So we all kind of came together and agreed upon certain things, like the sky being blue, you know?
Yeah, that and a few other things where for AI it's more objective. Consciousness is a state of mind. It is a form of mental awareness or alertness that coincides with the animation of matter that constitutes biological and mental aliveness. Owing to consciousness, humans are one of the only and few animals in the animal kingdom to adapt and evolve according to mental and social conditions, leaving humans with little inducement to evolve according to their physical surroundings.
And so that goes back to what we were talking about. So
yeah,
to kind of fit that in there.
Yeah, it fits it all together. And the few times that humans do evolve is through genetic mutations, which are not always pretty and sometimes they hurt.
She also discusses language and intelligence, which actually that chapter, at first I thought we were going to go into a lot of computer, because the author is super intelligent. I mean, she's a metaphysicist, for goodness sake. So I really was kind of worried for a second that it was going to be a lot of computer techie like verbiage. But she goes in to talk about how language doesn't necessarily equivalent to being intelligent, right? Just because you have a language doesn't mean you're a smart person. You could have no language and still be very intelligent.
There are also areas of the brain that correlate to language that shuts down when the brain is focused on a task. This area is called the default mode network, DMN. It is active when we are dreaming, daydreaming, or engaged in internal thought or internal speech, and switches off when engaged in external activities requiring cognition. Yeah, DMN, I thought that was really interesting, but I didn't see it as the author mentions, like a different part of your brain function that shuts off so it could focus on that internal dialogue, and it kind of clouds everything else. But once you start conversating with some other person or focusing on a different task, it shuts off, which I don't know, I just found that really interesting just because of the dreaming phase, the daydreaming, the internal thoughts, which the author also goes into in the book. Like when we talk to each other, to ourselves in our mind, it's like a form of...
Do you hear your voice? I hear my voice.
Yes.
Okay. And I know that actually not a lot of people do. And also, like when they're reading, they can't actually visualize what they're reading or hear their voice. Isn't that crazy?
Really?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Oh my God.
She didn't really discuss that in the book, but I thought that was wild when I found that out. Anyways, good.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a lot of things that we take for granted that our body and mind is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And just reading this book and all that. A lot of good resources. She did a ton of research. Mentions a lot of authors and...
case studies, and... Yeah, it's very well researched. And I also love this goes into the next chapter of when she's discussing the human brain and how it's like a computer. I loved how she kind of broke it down too, and it makes so much sense. She describes the motherboard as gray matter, but the processor as nerves or central nervous system, wiring the white matter, network is the 7 connected regions of the brain responsible for various brain functions. Software is the mind, and the computer is the body. I feel like when I think of a computer, because I'm not that super intelligent, I don't know much about computer science stuff, but when I think of a computer, I'm like, yeah, that's what I kind of imagine it to be. And that's like our brain. That's like our whole setup here. Isn't that crazy? It's wild.
It's probably why we have electricity running through our body too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But again, yeah, check it out. A lot of research, a lot of articles, a lot of references. Really great work from the author.
Thanks for hanging out with us, and be sure to check out Reality Unbound, The Digital Mind, and the Nature of Reality by E. Hughes.